Alright, today we are talking about the SmallHD 501 versus the Atomos Ninja 2. Alright, so if you've done any research on external monitors, you know that SmallHD and Atomos are two huge brands in the camera market. The SmallHD is strictly a monitor, and Atomos has recorders that also double as a monitor. So let's break down key features of each monitor, starting with the Atomos Ninja 2. I know this is the most current model, but there is a reason for this. The Atomos Ninja 2 is a 4.3-inch touchscreen with a resolution of 800 by 420. The brightness of this monitor, I don't actually know because I can't find it anywhere on the interwebs, but from personal use, pretty terrible. Not the greatest. I mean, you can kind of see it outside. In like direct daylight, forget it. Yeah. Studio use, pretty decent. It does have some focus assist features like focus peaking. Actually, that's the only focus assist feature, now that I think about it. It has some exposure tools like zebras and false color, but most importantly, this recorder can record video 1080p 10-bit up to 30 frames per second in ProRes, ProRes Lite, ProRes HQ, and DNx HD. It can even do 60 frames per second in 720p. The media is recorded onto a 2.5-inch SSD or 2.5-inch hard drive that is installed into the Atomos Caddy, which is compatible with all of Atomos's devices and can only be read by Atomos's custom card reader for 50 bucks. The Ninja 2 is powered off of two Sony NPF batteries. This is nice because there are all different sizes of Sony NPF. These are the small guys right here, but then you have the medium and the bigger guys, the Sony NPF 970s. Those are the big suckers. If you actually put two NPF 970s on here, it can run up to 30 hours supposedly. I have never tried that, but apparently it can run and record up to 30 hours. But even with these NPF 550s, this still runs a really long time, which is very impressive. This is all extremely surprising because any other Atomos recorder eats up NPF batteries, especially the Shogun line that records 4K, they eat up the NPF batteries. Even the 970s will go through two batteries in maybe like 2.5 hours, and those are massive. And next up is the SmallHD 501 monitor. This is a 5-inch display with a 1920 by 1080 resolution. It only has a joystick and a button. It is not touchscreen, and it is about 400 nits, which you have no comparison compared to the Atomos because I don't know what the Atomos is, but it's actually pretty good outside. It is not the best outside. There are certainly monitors that are brighter out there. SmallHD actually makes a 502 bright and a 702 bright, which just has a higher nit count. Atomos even has brighter monitors, their Shogun Flame, which is, I believe 1500 nits, which is very impressive. I've actually used that monitor and it is a joy to use outside. But going back to the 501, there are multiple focus assist features. You can actually customize your focus peaking, customize color, intensity. Exposure tools are also wonderful. I have waveform monitors in this, which is huge. That is the #1 tool that I use on this monitor are waveforms, because that is how I get my proper exposure. I know my IRE level, and that's exactly the same tool that I use when I am color grading in Premiere using the Lumetri tab. Lumetri Color has the waveform, and it is so great to be able to see exactly how I'm exposing, so I know exactly where my luminance levels are. So color grading is even easier, and I get the image as close as I can in camera. Additionally, I can view a vector scope on here, which I haven't used too much. The SmallHD has LUT support. LUT stands for lookup table, and essentially for beginners, it's like putting Instagram filters on your image before actually applying them to your image. So I can load up a bunch of Instagram filters on this monitor, and that way when I'm shooting video, I can preview that filter and preview the end result of what I'm going for. That way I can look at it, expose more properly. When seeing what is closer to my end result, I, as a filmmaker, get more inspired and more motivated to shoot. So LUT support is huge, and that is something I love about this monitor as well. Flipping over to the back, we have the Canon LPE6 batteries. Two of them, they are hot swappable just like the Atomos, and this runtime, I have not fully tested it. I haven't found anything online, but I've definitely gotten past 2 hours with both of these batteries, and that's with the monitor being on at all times. And now that I'm holding the SmallHD and the Atomos hand in hand, I can see that the Atomos is twice the size of the SmallHD in thickness, and that certainly adds on, especially with weight on the back of your camera, more space in your bag. So I consider that a huge perk for the SmallHD. But some similarities with these monitors, they both have 2 quarter 20 threads, both metal, both very sturdy and robust. So I have no problem mounting these anywhere I need. The SmallHD has one on the bottom and one on the side, whereas the Atomos Ninja has one on the bottom and one on the top. So just adding a magic arm, a friction arm, whatever you want to call it, and mounting this to your camera will sit very securely. Same goes with the SmallHD. SmallHD also sells an additional shoe mount adapter that is only compatible with the 501 and the 502. You can pick it up for about 50 bucks. For me, it is very worth it as it is very small, fits in nice with the monitor, and I can swivel it and tilt it all I want. All right, so the SmallHD is the superior monitor. By all means, this monitor is killer, and I will grab this any day over this monitor, with only a few exceptions. The higher resolution allows for better colors, more accurate focus, and a better representation of the final image. The LUTs that are loaded up onto this will allow me to see the closer to final image of the film after the color grade. My most heavily used tool on this is the waveform monitor, and this doesn't even have a waveform monitor. And ergonomically, this fits in my bag so much easier. I just pop the batteries off, or I can actually leave the batteries on. I put it in a little sleeve, slide it in a compartment, it's good to go. It's nice and thin. This is much more bulky, and if I want anything thicker than these MPF 550 batteries, they're gonna take up more space in my bag as well. In terms of battery life, yes, the Atomos does have better battery life than the SmallHD. However, if you're shooting practically, you're really not gonna run into any issues. I shoot tons of weddings with this, and I'm using it all day long. Now, I turn it on and off when I am not using it during those transition periods and times where I'm using the gimbal, because this is not mounted to my camera when I'm gimbaling. So, realistically, I'm using this about 75% of the wedding day, and I might need to change batteries by the end of it. And if I do, I just have 2 more LPE6s. They're small, they're not a pain, so having an extra set of LPE6s, not a big deal, and I'm guaranteed good for the day. Recording wise, obviously the Atomos beats the SmallHD because the SmallHD does not record any video. It has no capability of recording video. That is a main feature of the Atomos, is its recording ability. One thing I love about the Atomos is when you record onto the SSD, a tally light will come up so you know when you're recording or not. So something important to know in 2018 is Atomos does not make the Ninja 2 anymore. I think they're on the Ninja 5. I don't know if they even made a Ninja 3 and 4, but they're on a Ninja 5. It's a 4K recorder. It's still a 5-inch display. It looks really nice. I believe it has assist features similar to the SmallHD, but it is going for $650, I believe. So I've used the Atomos Shogun and the iterations of that model. It's the 7-inch 4K recorder, and it is a very nice display. I must say, it is very comparable to the SmallHD, but it does eat up batteries. Like, it devours batteries if you're recording 4K. And to me, if you're just using a monitor to monitor and you're not utilizing the recording features, even the Shogun or the Ninja 5 are just bulky options in comparison to this thin SmallHD. So which one do you buy? Honestly, if you're in a studio, I would say buy the Ninja 2. You can find them used for maybe like $100. It is a crappier image, but you have that tally light. And if you're recording by yourself, like I am right now, that is huge. I don't have a monitor on my camera at all right now, and I'm kind of freaking out because they're both right here. I don't know if I'm hitting that 30-minute record mark, because in the past, I've gone on rants and have completely blown past the 30-minute mark. The camera cuts at 29 minutes and 59 seconds. And the last bit of my vlog is just gone. Like, I don't know what I said. It's gone. Really hard to catch that if you don't have a tally light. So when I do record with this and I see the tally light go off, I immediately see it and go, oh, okay, I need to record again. I actually don't even use the ProRes files that I record to this because the file size is massive, and if I'm just shooting in an environment like this, I can control the lighting, I can control all the elements. I don't really need that extra flexibility, that extra data to manipulate in color correction. I don't need that, so I don't really need to shoot with all this data for something as basic as this image right now. So I record all the video to the internal SD card, and that is fine with me. I just use this for the tally light, which is huge. If you primarily shoot B-roll outside of the studio or any live event, the SmallHD is the way to go. It is super thin and very, very flexible. It gives you all the tools you need to get the most accurate image. Run and gun style, it runs about $650, although I have not been seeing more models in stores and in stock. I think SmallHD is phasing out the 501, which is the HDMI only. I think they're phasing out the 501 so that they can sell their Focus, which is their other 5-inch monitor that has some slightly different features. I personally really like the 501. I have not tried the Focus, but there are some specs that I don't like as much as the 501, so that is why I snagged the 501 while it's still being sold for about $650. I've used the 501's bigger brother, the 701, the 702, and the 702 Bright, which is just a higher nit count, higher brightness, and I do love it. It is a great monitor, but for portability, the 501 is great. I'm still able to see a very accurate picture and pull focus properly, and the portability for me beats the extra 2-inch of screen real estate. I could go super in depth as to why having a proper monitor while shooting is super imperative, but I will make sure to cover that in an upcoming episode very soon. But there you have it, the SmallHD 501 and the Atomos Ninja 2, a very good, cheap studio monitor and a very portable everything else monitor. If you enjoyed this tech review, please consider subscribing and checking out my channel. I'll be releasing videos every week for you guys to check out and enjoy on cameras, gear, and more. See you guys later.